I think the thread that weaves it all together, the thing that's most important, a couple things, it's understanding and appreciating your own unique context and not comparing ourselves to others and not gauging our ability to move through and be unchallenged, not gauging our ability to flourish, overcome challenge based on what anyone else is doing, but rather from the inside out in terms of what we're doing and where we want to go.
Welcome to Mind My Age, presented by Total Life. I'm your host, Neelam Brar. Today we have a remarkable guest, Dr. Kate Lund, a licensed clinical psychologist, performance coach, and TEDx speaker with more than 15 years of experience. Dr. Lund has specialized training in medical psychology from Harvard-affiliated hospitals and is an adjunct instructor at Pasteur University. She's also the author of Putter and the Red Car and Bounce, Help Your Child Build Resilience and Thrive in School, Sports, and Life. Additionally, Dr. Lund is a therapist with Total Life, working with older adults. The word resilience has a lot of meanings, and you've worked with students, athletes, parents, and older adults to help them reach their full potential at any age, any background. What is the common thread when you think about resilience training and coaching and advice that links all of these different types of people with different motivations and different challenges?
Yeah, I think the thread that weaves it all together, the thing that's most important, a couple things, it's understanding and appreciating your own unique context and not comparing ourselves to others and not gauging our ability to move through and be unchallenged, not gauging our ability to flourish, overcome challenge based on what anyone else is doing, but rather from the inside out in terms of what we're doing and where we want to go. And the other piece that's really important in all of this is believing in possibility and being able to hold on to that notion of possibility on the other side of challenge. I think those are the two most important kind of pieces that hold all of this together when it comes to resilience.
I've seen this with my own parents. There's so many challenging moments that arise as they're aging, from health changes to loss to reflection on the meaning of life or what's to come. What is your advice to folks that are just seeing a mountain of challenges when it comes to thinking about being resilient?
Yeah, and that's a great question, right? And it's a very real question and fits very much into what many people out there are experiencing, older adults. My mom, same situation that you're describing with your parents. And so I think it's a question of, one, holding on to that possibility on the other side of challenge, but also really taking that step back and discerning. So I've got a lot of challenges in my life right now, but what are the things that are going well? And how can I use those to maximize my potential or my forward direction, so to speak? How can I use the things that are going well to help me move in that direction that I want to go? And that's one thing that I really work with a lot of my clients on, is identifying those things and finding those things. And there can be many ways to do that, but a process that I really like is called the daily wins exercise, where folks really take time intentionally to reflect at the end of each day on 3 to 5 things that went well that day. Because it's so easy for us to get caught up in that kind of negative thought loop of, I should be doing this better, or this should be going better than it is, or why aren't these people in my life doing things that I think they should be doing, that kind of thing. And it's really easy to get stuck there. But by intentionally taking a step back and jotting down 3 to 5 things that are going well or did go well on a given day really helps us shift our perspective and shift it back to neutral or even in a more positive direction. And so that's really how I would answer that question.
One of the things that I don't think the media talks enough about is how much social media has penetrated the older adult population and how addicted some folks are. Like, I look at my mom every day and we literally have to peel that phone out of her hand. Most times I lose at that battle, and she just spends hours and hours sitting on the couch on Facebook when we want her to be walking around and engaging. And she doesn't understand that there's algorithms that are like feeding her information. She doesn't understand that. And what's your message or advice? Like, how would you handle that with my mom or any patient that is not having trouble overcoming that?
And that's a great question. And it's a very real scenario, right? For many of us, older adult or otherwise. And it's really hard. And it's about habit building behavior, right? We want to undo that habit of sitting for hours on end on the couch, glued to social media. And so it's starting with small steps, really encouraging small steps. Maybe putting the phone down and taking a 5-minute walk the first day, and maybe adding a minute the next day, and really just taking those small steps, putting those small practices into play to slowly desensitize from that habit that's gluing us to the couch or gluing us to social media. And it's easier said than done, right? Because ultimately it has to come from the inside out in terms of the person trying to make the change. Even if they don't recognize that they want to make the change, as they start feeling the positive impact of some of those other behaviors, they're hopefully going to shift focus. That's what we hope to have happen. And again, easier said than done, because unless you're with your mom in those situations trying to help her shift gears, it's very hard to do over the phone. But putting those messages out there and starting that conversation is really the first step.
Major transitions can cause really large shifts in your routine, in your sense of self-worth, and in your emotional confidence. As we age, I've seen it with my own dad, for example. When he finally decided to retire, he didn't really retire with a plan. And it really was a shock to his everything. He suddenly lost his routine. His entire identity was in wrapped around his career and his profession. And so over the last few years, it's been a challenge helping him find his new normal. What is your advice to older adults on being resilient and prepared through transitions so that they can tackle them head on, whether it be retirement or a new diagnosis or a loss of a loved one?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, a very real experience for so many people, right? And you mentioned it, it comes down to helping these clients to establish and integrate a new sense of normal. And this takes time, because oftentimes there's this huge shift in identity and huge shift in routine and shift in experience. And maybe they're living in a brand new place. It's a lot. It's a lot to contend with and navigate. So again, comes down to a strong therapeutic alliance in that we're making it clear to our clients that we care about their experience and trying to understand where they're coming from. And then slowly over time, helping them, because we want this all to come from the inside out, right? To help them identify areas of new focus where they can perhaps connect. And it might be a little bit of trial and error. Maybe it's going to the senior center across the street. Maybe it's trying water aerobics. Maybe it's an art class or a book group, or just helping them to cultivate ideas for connection where they can start to build that new foundation, that new normal as they move forward.
Listeners, if you're inspired by today's conversation, visit www.totallife.com to learn more about therapy and sign up for resources that can help you age healthier. Remember, it's never too late to start taking care of your mental health and staying engaged. Stay mindful, stay healthy, and keep thriving. Until next time, this is Neelam Brar signing off.